we came to be happy again.
Elliott here, Lazy Dogs Records, along with my faithful and lazy dog Chester. And I thought I would show you records I picked up in August. It's the third time I've tried to take this, and each time I've gone, no, this is way too long. People don't want to watch this long. So I'm going to try to condense things down and not wander around verbally as I often do. What are we listening to first? This was a sealed album I got from John Howie Jr. Not Tonight. There he is. Recently, I think he's got his own band called Rosebud or something like that. And before that, he's been in the alternative country scene for a long time. Some of you may be familiar with it. I think the $2 Pistols were his band, but I'm not positive about that. One of those alt country bands that was based out of the Raleigh area for a long time. Anyway, recently he's been the drummer for Sarah Shook and the Disarmers, but he's left that band. I think he and Sarah had a personal relationship along with professional, and when that soured, it was time to leave, I guess. But good album so far. I've really enjoyed listening to side 2 now. Okay, pretentious homeschool student music, maybe. Punch Brothers, Chris Hill, who hosted what used to be Prairie Home Companion for a few years, used to be in Nickel Creek, big acoustic band, not really bluegrass band, but originally based in bluegrass. This is, I guess it's his band. He's in the center here. That's usually a good indication. But all these musicians are stellar. Somebody asked me about what I thought, and they said that they thought that first song or two on here were art masterpieces or something along those lines. And everybody can disagree on that sort of thing. To me, it kind of came across as a little pretentious, trying too hard to be relevant type stuff. But I could be wrong. I've only listened to it once, so I have to listen to it again and see if I still feel that way. May have just been the mood. That's why I called him a homeschool student pretentious, but because he was homeschooled. And I'm not criticizing homeschool, but it does create a little bit of a different person than you would if you went to school, public or even a private school for that matter. But it's four sides on this album. It's on None Such, and it's really very, very good. Acoustic music, but not bluegrass by any means, although in today's world they kind of lump anything acoustic stringed instrument as bluegrass. I don't agree with that definition. I think I'll probably do a video on my definition for what bluegrass actually is on another video. But it's on None Such, using guitar, bass, banjo, mandolin, and fiddle. Who's Feeling Young Now? It's called. This is from 2012, so it was a new album to me. It's a sealed record, but not one that just came out. And here's a jazz record I picked up recently, Lee Morgan Cornbread. And I would defer to our jazz friends on the vinyl community to help me out a little bit on this. Now, this is a Blue Note reissue, obviously. And whenever I buy a new record, I hold my breath because the quality control on pressing new vinyl is just awful. I'm sure we've all noticed that. You'll get records and they'll have paper dust all over them. They might have sometimes people will get them and they'll have some sort of a sheen of oil or something on them. You'll see, hairline scratches all over them and they've just been opened, that sort of thing. And sometimes you get them and they've got, skips or loops and, or sticks. And So whenever I put a record on that's brand new, I hold my breath even more than I do for a used record. I hold my breath to see what I'm going to get. And when I was listening to side one, it starts with Cornbread. It's only got 2 songs on it. Cornbread and our man Higgins. Higgins is the drummer on this record. Uh, Especially on Cornbread, as I was listening, it seems like the group was maybe playing 2 measures or 3 measures or something, and then repeating those 2 or 3 measures and then repeating them. It's like I would hear it and I would hear the exact same thing over again. I'm saying, oh gosh, it's sticking, but it would keep on playing through. It wouldn't stick anywhere. It would play around. Was that just part of their improvisation or something? Or, and it kind of bothered me to begin with. And should I be bothered? That's what I'm asking you, jazz people that know so much more about jazz than I do. Don't know much of anything. Is that intentional, or was I listening to a record that when they transferred the masters, they, it hung or something? I don't know. Anyway, it was hard for me to overcome that as I was listening, because it's always like, oh God, oh, it's sticking. No, it's not. It's supposed to be that way. I don't know. Okay, let me know. I'm going to put a link at the bottom to a review of a group called His Golden Messenger that John at Digital Gramophone did. Check that. It was several months ago, maybe 8 or 9, 10 months ago. Check that review out if you have any interest at all in this band or know more about it, far more than I do. But based on that and things he had earlier said about this group, I ended up buying this box set, His Golden Messenger, Devotion, Songs About River Spirits and Children. And it's got the first three albums plus rarity, how they'll do with rarities and outtakes and things like that. I really like this. Not purely acoustic, but acoustic based music, and it's literally songs about spirituality, songs about maybe even Christianity, although I think he's just very vague about his own religious beliefs. But I hear a lot of reference to Christian themes in there. A lot about family and children and things like that. Very, very good. The next couple I want to show you, I ordered these on Discogs after finding this, what I thought was this album at an antique shop. I looked at the vinyl. Vinyl looked great. Carried it home and then took it out to clean it. And lo and behold, the vinyl looked great, but it was not this record. Don't you hate when you get so excited, you run home with something and find that to be the case? So I went on Discogs. I said, I got to have it now. I know I got to have it since I missed out on it there. So instead of $3 or $4 that I paid for it, I ended up paying $4. Well, I carried it back and got a replacement record. But I ordered this album and this album, which are, I think, 72 and 73 issues. Great albums. Staple Singers, such a great pop staples. Mavis Staples still around today, still performing. And these 2 albums are just wonderful. They've got stuff like Respect Yourself on it. I'll Take You There. Let's see. Be What You Are. Love Comes in All Colors. Just some great. It's got Grandma's Hands, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a Bill Withers. I have to look and see. A Bill Withers pen too. Great stuff. And then I got some various records. I got this record. This is Bowling Green John and harmonica Bill Wiggins from Virginia. This is a West German issue on L&R Records. It's called Original Field Recordings Volume 1, Living Country Blues USA. The great dobro player Jerry Douglas. and this is Fluxido, takeoff on Tuxedo and his nickname, Flux. We won't talk about what that's referring to. Uh, Here's something I was really glad to find. I couldn't believe how inexpensively I was able to get it. The great flat picking guitarist Dan Crary. This is on American Heritage. He's backed by the band he was playing with at this time, which is very important in the growth of bluegrass music and Newgrass Bluegrass Alliance. And Dan Crary, bluegrass guitar. He wouldn't make another record for about 5 or 6 years. He was in divinity school in Kentucky when he was with Bluegrass Alliance. Went back to California. He's originally from Kansas. Went back to California, and today he's a professor at, I think, at University of California, Santa Barbara or San Diego or somewhere like that, and also a professional musician all this time. So he's had 2 careers all his life. Woodstock was kind of a musician's colony, and still is in many aspects. Well, this is called Mud Acres, Music Among Friends. This was a very early Rounder Records release, and it's got Happy and Artie Trom. Happy Trom has the Homespun Records instructional CDs, used to be tapes. Marina Muldoon's on here. And Jim Rooney, Bill Keith, the banjo player, Tony Brown, and several others. And this is exactly what it sounds like, music among friends. They just piled a bunch of people in a car and went to a recording studio in upstate New York, not at Woodstock. They were living around Woodstock at the time, but somewhere a little further north to a studio that was kind of a hippie commune type place. And they recorded this album and had a great time. It's really enjoyable stuff. Hazel Dickens and Alice Gerard, a team for many years, playing mountain music, ballads, bluegrass, old time, even some honky tonk on this album. Everybody needs a little Zydeco in their life. Clifton Chenier, Boogaloosa Boogie. And that's a good album right there. I just thoroughly enjoyed that. When you hadn't heard any Zydeco in a long time, you put something like that on, it's just so enjoyable. Then I got several local artists' albums from Adam at Record Crate in Raleigh. Some of them I bought on the live stream YouTube sales, and some of them I was able to get into a store with an appointment to go in by myself and find some stuff. But the Accelerators, a self-titled album from the Accelerators. This was kind of a rootsy rock, country, alternative country, pop rock band, all those things out of the Raleigh area. And this is Motel with the silos behind it. I know exactly where this photograph was taken. Driving in from where I live, about 30 miles from Raleigh, driving into Raleigh, this is on the right. This is not a hotel you would want to stay at. Also, just total blind buy. I had seen the name of this band before, but never seen them. But I thought the name was great. This jury's still out on the actual recording. And this is from Nikki. The band is called Nikki Meets the Hibachi. Hannah's Amorphous Hat. Jury's still out. I'll have to give this a couple more listens before I decide. I showed this earlier in one of the contest entries to get to 9. Hedgie V, House of Tears, recorded at the drive-in studio, Mitch Easter's drive-in studio in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Hedgie V, or 5, is the son of George Hamilton IV of White Sports Code and a song about the Baby Ruth and all that back in the late 50s, early 60s. And here's one. John also recently did a video about the band Arrogance, which I have several of their albums already, but he inspired me to go searching, and I ended up getting a fairly good deal. I forget what I paid for this on this album from Arrogance. Really like that one. And I found this in Syracuse, New York, of all places. Everywhere else I see it on Discogs, it's in Germany or France or somewhere, and I'm not going to pay shipping, bring something that far away. But I ended up getting this Tobacco A Go-Go, and this is North Carolina rock and roll in the 60s. And this is taken from old 45s. This guy's a labor of love. He found mentions of uh, various bands during the garage rock era of the 60s when everybody was forming bands, and a lot of them did singles. Some he could find nothing about, even who the members were or anything. Some he knew more about, but this is just a neat album. It's kind of a moment in time, I guess you'd say. I am on the lookout for Volume 2, Carolina Psychedelic Music. It's Tobacco A Go-Go, Carolina Psychedelic, Volume 2, because it's Volume 1. So anybody sees that, please contact me. Let's see if we can work something out where I can get that from you. And a couple of compilations from the 80s, local music again. Got this from Adam as well. More Mondo. I'm still looking. I'll pick up Mondo Montage when I see it again sometime. But this is just various bands from the 80s in the local area here where I live. Pressure Boys are on here. Sponge Tones. Southern Culture on the Skids is on here. They're still around. Fetching Bones. Rick Rock. Graphic. Don Dixon is on here. And Don Dixon or Mitch Easter or Rod Kirkland, I believe. Dixon and Kirkland from Arrogance that I showed you earlier. They produced a lot of these artists. Okay? And then Welcome to Combo Land, which is another one of those 80s collection of 12 artists from North Carolina. And it's got the Connells on here. The Right Profile, which formed in Boone at Appalachian State University when I was up there, junior, senior in college there. That band was, I remember when they formed, first started, they started there and moved down to Winston-Salem. Rod Dash is on here, Southern Culture on Skids on here, Don Dixon. Sponge Tones are on this one too, Fetching Bones of the Woods are on this. So two along the same lines. Got a call from a friend that he said, I know you collect records. He said, I'm getting ready to burn this old schoolhouse. He had a one-room schoolhouse on his property. He said, I'm getting ready to burn it, and there's a bunch of records in here, and just want to give you a chance to take a look. Well, I got in there, worked my way through the vines, weeds, and the broken floorboards, and most of the records they were out of the sleeve, and they were pretty well worn and trashed. But there was a couple of them I grabbed, and the two I grabbed in surprisingly good condition. Chris, Willie, Dolly, and Brenda. This is a Monument Records issue. Taking advantage of those guys becoming stars in later time. But this one, I'll try to get all of them Merle Haggard. I did not have this one. This was still in the shrink wrap, believe it or not, in this old, about to fall down old schoolhouse from the early 1900s, if not the late 1800s. Merle Haggard, That's the Way Love Goes. That's a great song, too. Hey. Okay, so I was glad to get that. And then the last few I'll show you are things I got from Adam at the Record Crate. Got these in one of his sales on YouTube, live stream sales. Fitzgerald and Pass, Ella Fitzgerald and Joe Pass. Again, it's called on the Pablo Records label. Same record label, Ella Fitzgerald and Tommy Flanagan Trio. Ella Fitzgerald, and this is Sings the Jerome Kern Songbook. You all right, Chester? Nelson Riddle conducted and arranged. And of course, she did a bunch of the songbooks, different great composers during her career. And then, you know, I'm getting into jazz and learning more about jazz. So these were blind buys. I said, yeah, basically we're all blind buys. I got on there a little late and I said, yeah, I'll take that Ella for $6, and I'll take that Chet. And it was like, evidently they had showed other Chet and Ellas, and he said, well, there's 3 Ellas and 2 Chets. Which ones do you want? And I said, oh, just give me all of them. And so this is latter day Chet Baker, I guess. I've got the feeling this might not be very highly regarded. It's enjoyable. There's kind of an easy listening feel to it. Into My Life, Chet Baker and the Carmel Strings. Kind of easy listening feel, and you get that easy listening vibe looking at the cover, don't you? But this one was better. This was on CTI, Chet Baker, She Was Too Good to Me. It's got Herbert Laws, Paul Desmond, Bob James, Ron Carter, Steve Gadd, and Jack DeJohnette. And Don Sebiski arranged and conducted it. Chet Baker. There he is. And this is from recorded in 1974. Okay. So those are the things I've collected in the month of August up to this point. So I thought I would show that. It's running over 20 minutes now, almost 22 minutes. So I better say, everybody, be kind to your neighbors because we're all neighbors. Take care.